All right, everybody. We're getting ready to go Facebook Live. Hope maybe it's already live with our Bible trivia tonight. And by the way, if you're looking back there at the screen and you can read that perfectly right there, you know, I mean, for me, as I look at this screen, it's all backwards. You know what? When I go look at Facebook, because I'm going to go share this to the Pat, Louise, good to see y'all. Getting ready to look at this on my page because I'm going to share it to the church Facebook page. So let's look and see what that looks like. I'm sure that it's backwards and upside down and everything else. Let me see. Yeah. So if you can read that perfectly, right there, that says Graceworks Church. If you can read that and it looks perfectly fine to you, you might be dyslexic. And if you are reading that and it looks backwards to you, you are not dyslexic. That is because I'm using the front camera. But anyway, I wanted to put something on the screen back there since I'm doing, I need to share this to the church Facebook page. Share, and I'm going to share it to the church. Hey, you guys hit the share button while I'm doing this. Happy Monday, and hello, Louise. Share this to the church Facebook page, and you guys share this out on your page. I'm doing this from there. I'm sharing it to the church, and I just shared it, and now people can watch it from other places. I'm here in the church sanctuary. It's freezing outside, so I didn't go outside and it's dark. So, there, good, I got it shared. We're good to go. Got it. All right, so the trivia tonight is going to be, I think my phone started ringing while I was, okay. The trivia tonight is going to be, hello, Carol, is going to be about Advent. Advent stuff. So, and some of you, some of you have already had a little bit of a head start on this because last Wednesday when I did the midweek devotion with the pastor, I did a couple of trivia questions to kick us off, and I repeated some of those in here. And I'm very, very excited about trivia tonight, not only because it's Advent trivia, but because I have sweet tea. Very exciting. So I have my sweet tea, but look, I have a bag of pecans that are getting less and less because I keep eating them. So this is my snack tonight during trivia. I love pecans. Thank you, Jackie Whitlock, for getting me some pecans. I love pecans. All right. So hit the share button. We're getting ready to do Advent trivia. And that is why I put that behind me. That's the manger scene right there. So, and once again, if you're just joining us and you're reading that Graceworks and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm dyslexic. No, you're not. That is because I'm using the front camera of this tablet here. So if you read that perfectly, and it looks totally normal to you, you might be dyslexic. All right, Advent trivia. You guys ready? All right, you got to share it out. Pecans or pecans? I saw a thing the other day on social media, and somebody said, this is pecans, and then it had a picture of some cans of peas, and it said, this is pecans. So anyway, all right, let's do our Advent trivia here. Question number 1. Advent came from the Latin term Adventus, translating, this is a true or false question, by the way. Advent came from the Latin term Adventus, translating Greek, I should have looked this up, Perusia. Okay, so here's the true or false part. Okay, in the New Testament, this is the term used for the second coming of Christ. So Advent. This, in the New Testament, this is the term used for the second coming of Christ. Is that true or false? So Advent came from the Latin term Adventus, translating in the Greek P-A-R-O-U-S-I-A, Perusia, or something like that, okay? That is truth, okay? According to Google. And so here's the true or false part. Chip says true. In the New Testament, this is the term used for the second coming of Christ. Is that true or false? Judy says false. Chip says true. Anybody else? Anybody else? Man, we got people on tonight. I like it. It's freezing outside, by the way. I've already said that once, but if you're just joining us, it's very cold in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which, by the way, is going to be some of the bonus trivia tonight. Well, we have a true and we have a false. Carol says true. The answer is true. The answer is true. And we always think about Advent as the birth, the nativity of Jesus Christ. But anyway, I can't get too far ahead of myself because some of the other questions kind of answer some of this for you. But Advent does mean coming arrival. So I'll explain a little more in a second. So, question number 2. We had this question in my pastor thing the other day, the midweek moment with the pastor. How many Sundays are in Advent? How many Sundays are in Advent? Hey, David. Good to see you, David. How many Sundays are in Advent? While you're answering that question and hitting your share button, make sure you share this, I'm going to eat a couple of pecans. So take your time. Ooh, well, just drop one on the floor. I'll get that later. Chip says 4. Chip says there's 4 Sundays in Advent. Does anybody agree or disagree with Chip? I'm trying to see if I can go back and explain that. Carol says 4. Anybody else? I know what once again, this thing kind of goes a little bit slow to some people and faster to others. All right, Carol says 4. Chip says 4. How many Sundays are there in Advent? Pat says 4. Okay, I'm sure everybody else is going to be answering, and the answer is there are 4 Sundays in Advent. By the way, once again, I have the manger scenes that are behind me, the Advent thing going on here at Grace Works Church. We had our first Sunday of Advent this past Sunday. Oh, I need to be quiet because I don't want to ruin everything. I've got some trivia questions here that I may be messing up. Okay, question number 3. True or false? True or false? Like the 40 days of Lent, this is a true or false. Like the 40 days of Lent, Advent is a fixed number of days before Christmas. Is that a true or false statement? Like the 40 days of Lent, Advent is a fixed number of days before Christmas. Is that true or is that false? Hit the share button, guys. Hit that share button. And I'm going to eat some pecans. Got to get some sweet tea here in a second. True or false? Chip says false. Anybody else? True or false? Is this a true or false statement? Like the 40 days of Lent, Advent is a fixed number of days before Christmas starts, I should say. True or false? Carol says yes. Chip says false. Judy says false. Carol says false. Hello, Tiffany. Anybody else? I know some of you are still probably answering. And I know that you're probably just getting this way out in Meigs County. By the way, it was snowing here today in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Judy says false. We had a little bit of snow. It might be snowing a little bit right now still. All right. The answer is, Louise says false, and you guys are correct. That is a false statement. I said, like the 40 days of Lent, Advent is a fixed number of days before Christmas. That is a false statement. Now, my next question is, well, in that case, how do we determine the first Sunday of Advent? How do we determine the first Sunday of Advent? Since that is a false statement, then how do we determine, since it's not 40 days before Christmas, how do we determine what is the first Sunday of Advent? And since Advent starts on a Sunday, obviously the 40 days can't work because it's not a Sunday 40 days before Christmas every year. It changes. So how do we determine the first Sunday of Advent? James Smedley is watching. Does anybody, I know that's kind of a long answer to kind of type in on your phone while you're watching. Hit the share button, guys. I'm eating pecans. Look at this. Can you get sick from eating pecans? Okay, Chip says the first Sunday after Thanksgiving. Anybody else? Judy says the Jewish calendar. Anybody else? I'm eating some pecans here while you guys are answering. I don't have the correct answer on the screen yet, by the way, unless somebody's typed it and hadn't gotten there yet. James says Sunday after Thanksgiving, which, by the way, it was this year. But that's not how we determine it. Anybody? Louise comes with the right answer. The way we come up, how we determine the first Sunday of Advent is that it is the fourth Sunday before Christmas. So, what you do is you find what Christmas Day is, that December the 25th, the Sunday before that, the Sunday before that, the Sunday before that, and the Sunday before that. That's your first Advent Sunday. So the Sunday that's 4 Sundays before Christmas. So sometimes it falls after Thanksgiving. It never falls before Thanksgiving, but we don't determine it by Thanksgiving. So there's your answer. Good job, Louise. Where am I? Okay. All right, I'm gonna go back to question number 1. I said Advent, Latin term. In the New Testament, the term is used for the second. In the New Testament, this term is used for the second coming of Christ. That was a true statement. Hello, Andrew. Good to see you, buddy. That is a true statement because Advent actually means coming, arrival. Even though when we do Advent, we are doing the birth, the nativity of Jesus Christ, it's also looking forward to the second coming because that's technically what Advent is translated from the Latin. So, anywho, there you go. Who would have thought? Who would have thunk it? All right, we're doing an Advent trivia. You guys hit the share button. We're on question number 5. Question number 5 says, traditionally, how many candles are lit in the Advent wreath during Advent? So traditionally, how many candles are lit in the Advent wreath during Advent? Which Advent is 4 Sundays, 4 Sundays before Christmas, but how many candles are lit in the Advent wreath during the Advent season? There could be 2 possible answers to this because different churches do it different ways. Not every church does it the same. Chip Liner says 4. That is one of the answers that I will accept. Louise says 4. Andrew says 5. That is the other answer I was looking for. Andrew, you're on it, brother. By the way, Andrew was one of my roommates in college that I never was able to catch up with him. He was always faster than me in the 400 and the 800 and probably a lot of other races too. But he was a good roommate. And he was a good runner too. I mean, he always had me working out hard. Pat says 4. Carol says sometimes 5. Well, your answers are correct with 4 and 5. We have 4 candles we light a different candle every Sunday, every Advent Sunday. And then, so there's 4 of them. But the 5th one, a lot of churches, not everybody does the 5th one. But I think most places probably do. And we at Graceworks do the 5th one. And it's right there. And I don't want to ruin my next question. Because my next question says, if you do have a 5th candle, what is that candle called and when is it lit? Most of the time, this is what it's called. This is what we call it at Graceworks too. So if there is a 5th candle, what is that candle called and when do we light that candle? Now, we light the first 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, on first Sunday of Advent, second Sunday of Advent, third Sunday of Advent, fourth Sunday of Advent. But if there is a 5th candle, when do we light that? What do we call it? You can give me either answer. If you know both of them. And once again, not all churches do this the same. It's not one of these things that is, done exactly the same everywhere. It is a tradition of man, so it changes. Chip says the Christ candle. Anybody else? Don't forget to hit that share button if you haven't hit it yet. Christ candle on Christmas Eve is what Louise says. Getting a sip of sweet tea. That was delicious. All right, Christ candle Christmas Eve. Chip says Christ candle. So, where was I? Question number 6, if there's a 5th candle, what is that? Carol says the Christ candle. And I know some more of you are probably answering and getting this. the answer to that question. And there, once again, I said different traditions at different churches, but at Graceworks and a lot of churches, you are correct. That is called the Christ candle, and many people light that on Christmas Eve. Some people light it on Christmas Day. So that is the fifth candle. Some churches only stick with the 4 candles, do the 4 Sundays of Advent. But a lot of places have a Christmas Eve service and have the Christ candle in the middle. And they light it at Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. So good job, guys. Question number 7. Okay, here we go. Question number 7. Which Advent hymn was written by Charles Wesley? I'm going to give you a choice of 2 of them. Was it Come Thou Long Expected Jesus, or was it Joy to the World? Question 7. Which Advent hymn was written by Charles Wesley? Was it Come Thou Long Expected Jesus, or was it Joy to the World? What is your guess, or do you know the answer? You don't have to guess if you know it. This is question number 7. Just some Advent trivia. Chip says, oh yeah, I should have, Number 1 is Come Thou Long Expected Jesus, and number 2 is Joy to the World. So give me a 1 or a 2. Sorry. Which Advent hymn was written by Charles Wesley? Number 1, Come Thou Long Expected Jesus, or number 2, Joy to the World? Sorry, I should have done that at first, Chip. And hey, Mom. My mom just joined us, or she may have been on here, and I may have missed her. Louise says, Come Thou Long Expected Jesus. Which Advent hymn was written by Charles Wesley? Was it number 1, Come Thou Long Expected Jesus, or number 2, Joy to the World? Louise says number 1. Either you guys are really good or you're very good with your Apple and your Apple phones or Siri or Google or I do the Google thing. Well, you guys are correct. It is number 1. Which Advent hymn was written by Charles Wesley? It is Come Thou Long Expected Jesus. As a matter of fact, Joy to the World was written by George Frederick Handel. So, Chip did his studying. That's what it is. Of course you did. Of course you did. All right. Question number 8. This is another true or false question, guys. Some churches, as a matter of fact, we do, because I'm looking at our Advent wreath right there. And by the way, there's the nativity scene behind me. And since we're doing an Advent Bible trivia. So question number 8, true or false? Some churches light a pink candle on the 3rd Sunday of Advent, representing joy. Representing joy. Is that statement true, or is that statement false? Some churches light a pink candle on the 3rd Sunday of Advent, representing joy. Now, is that whole statement true? I could have picked some of that, and made some of it true, some of it false. So is the whole statement true? True or false? Some churches light a pink candle on the 3rd Sunday of Advent, representing joy. Chip says true. Louise says true. Anybody else? Anybody else? I'm going to be truthful with you and say that I looked this up on Google. So all these questions I'm asking, you guys better go back and fact check me. A lot of the stuff you can't really fact check in the Bible because it's not really Bible stuff. This is a man's tradition, the Advent thing. So, but you can go check it out on Google. Carol says yes. Well, the answer is, according to what I looked up, true. Some churches do light a pink candle. According to what I looked up, some churches light a pink candle on the 3rd Sunday of Advent, representing joy. All that is true from what I looked up. Now, what could be, my mom's finally here. What could be mistaken, or some churches might do, they might do a pink candle. So not all churches actually do a pink candle, from my understanding, but some do. Now, and I did read that they do it on the 3rd Sunday for joy. Some churches might do it on the 2nd Sunday, but I think a lot of churches do a pink candle. They do it on the 3rd Sunday, and that means joy. I guess that's the pink is the color of joy. So, or joy is the color of pink, or I don't know. Okay, let's see here. Question number 9. If you guys were at church this Sunday, you should know this answer. Or if you watched Facebook Live and you didn't fall asleep in Tony's sermon, What is the meaning of the Hebrew word Emmanuel? What is the meaning of the Hebrew word Emmanuel? I'll give you a hint. We sang a song this Sunday to close out the service. Not close it, but kind of an invitation song. And it went, Emmanuel, Emmanuel, his name is called Emmanuel. And the meaning was the next line. Thank you, Chip. God with us. Yes, Andrew. God with us. Yes, Louise. God with us. Yes, Emmanuel. God with us. Good job, guys. What is the meaning of the Hebrew word Emmanuel? The meaning is God with us, revealed in us. His name is called Emmanuel. All right. You guys are good. You know, I sang that song forever, and I didn't realize I was actually singing the definition of Emmanuel. I was just singing the song and singing God with us and revealed in us, but that is the definition of Emmanuel, of the Hebrew word. So question number 10, our final question. We have some bonus questions here coming up. You may want to have your Google ready or your Siri ready for the bonus questions. Okay. This one you're going to have been at church yesterday or watched us online to get this, or you might guess it and get it right. We lit our first Advent candle at Graceworks yesterday because it was the first Sunday of Advent. In one word, what did that candle represent? Anybody have an answer to that? We lit our first Advent candle at Graceworks yesterday. In one word, what did that candle represent? Anybody? I mean, you can say other things if you want, more than one word, but one word's what I'm looking for. Louise says hope. Anybody else? Hey, by the way, I'm eating a whole big old bag of pecans. Thank you, Jackie Whitlock. I love some pecans. Carol says hope. Pat says hope. Hey guys, hit the share button, by the way. This is good stuff. Chip says hope. Anybody else? Yep, Howard Napier. In the 9 o'clock service, Howard Napier lit the candle. In the 10:30 service, Terry Ellis and her grandson Austin lit the candle. So, drinking some sweet tea. So, the answer is hope. The answer is hope. Hope of Christ coming again. There you go. That was question number 10. Okay, now on to the bonus trivia here. Guys, get your Google ready, get your Siri ready, or maybe you are, I will tell you this, maybe you're a super meteorologist and you're going to know the answer to this thing. So, it's freezing here in Chattanooga right now, okay? I mean, it's actually not freezing, but it feels like it because the wind's blowing. It's very cold. So for your bonus question, it is November 30th. We are in the last day of November 2020. So, what is the average overnight low temperature in Chattanooga, Tennessee on November 30th? What is the average overnight low temperature in Chattanooga, Tennessee on November the 30th? You can just take a guess if you want. It might be fun to guess. I was kind of surprised, not super surprised really, because this is the average overnight low. This is not like your high that you have on November 30th. What is your average overnight low temperature in Chattanooga, Tennessee on November the 30th, historically? I will tell you this year is going to bring that average a little bit down because it's cold today. So, I mean, cold is relative. I know Andrew's up there in Virginia. Louise says 24 degrees. Carol says 40 degrees. I will tell you this. Carol is super close. Chip is super close. And you guys might actually be right on that. Because different search engines may give you different things. My mom says 35 degrees. My mom's a Chattanooga, Tennessee native. James Smedley says 45 degrees. Well, I'll tell you what I looked up and what I was told online, and was, maybe accurate, maybe not. I said, what is the average overnight low temperature in Chattanooga, Tennessee on November 30th? Oh, wow, Andrew nailed it, 39.1 degrees. 39 degrees is the same thing I looked up with Andrew. So 40 degrees was 1 degree different. Andrew says 39. And I've got one more bonus question for you. Keep that Google and that Siri up, because in Chattanooga, Tennessee, what and when, and you can give me the what or when here, it doesn't matter, or you can give me both if you know it. What and when is the record or recorded record low? So the recorded record low in Chattanooga, Tennessee on November 30th. So in history, on record, what is the lowest temperature Chattanooga, Tennessee has ever seen on November the 30th? You can tell me the year too if you want, but so give me the temperature or the year or both. So in history, on November 30th, in Chattanooga, Tennessee, what is the coldest it has ever been in recorded history, and what year, if you know? By the way, Andrew and I used to go running, and one of the most memorable runs I ever had with Andrew, we ran all the time actually, but one of the most memorable runs I had with Andrew and my other roommate, Mark Jarvis, and we went running up what we call the North Face. James says 16 degrees, but Andrew and I went running up 1976, 16 degrees, Andrew says. Vince says 16, but Andrew Prantner and I went running up the north face of a mountain in the snow. We did a couple of snow runs, but that one was very memorable because that is a hard thing to run in the daytime when you have daylight. We did it at night one time in snow, and the top part had crusted over, so it was a very interesting, fun, laughing run the whole way with Mark and Andrew. Very memorable memory. Yes, Andrew loved the North Face runs. Those were fun, man. Especially that one. That one was so memorable. Okay, I'm running off. You guys are correct when you say 16 degrees. Andrew said 1976, and that is exactly what I looked up as well. 1976, the overnight low was 16 degrees in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So, just so you know, tonight at midnight it's supposed to be 33 degrees. The feel like it's supposed to be 25 degrees because of the 9-mile-per-hour wind. But it's only supposed to get to, Chip says he found it somewhere it says 13 degrees in 1924. We'll have to go check and see who's right. You guys got to fact check us. But it's supposed to be like 33 degrees at midnight tonight. 9-mile-an-hour wind. And by the way, in the morning, it's supposed to be 27 degrees at 8 a.m. here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and it's going to feel like it's 19 degrees because there is a 7-mile-per-hour wind in the morning. So, I say all that to say, it's cold. And thank you all for joining me on trivia tonight, Advent trivia. Once again, if you're reading this, you have not gone dyslexic. I'm using the front camera of a tablet. And so grace works is in reverse. If you can read that perfectly, you probably are dyslexic. So anyway, I'm going to close this out with a word of prayer here. Hope you know a little bit more about Advent. Once again, Advent is not one of these things that is different in different places. There's no set way that it actually goes. But I tried to find some general questions that work. But anywho, that was 44 years ago. Did you run at age 4? No, I did not run at age... Well, actually, I probably did run at age 4. I'm sure I did. I was probably running from my parents who were probably needing to spank me because I'm sure I did something wrong or got into some mischief. But my parents were very gracious. I did not get nearly as many spankings as I should have gotten growing up. So thanks, Mom and Dad. I appreciate that for showing me some grace and some mercy. But anyway, let's have a word of prayer here, and we will close out. God, I thank you that we can come here tonight and just study this Advent season that's leading us up to Christmas. And we have different traditions that we do at different places, God. But it's all celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ, who is our Savior. And so, God, right now I speak on behalf of every person who might be listening right now. God, it is my privilege to say on behalf of all of us that we love you. God, we thank you for the gift of salvation that we have through Jesus Christ. We pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys. Y'all have a good night. And what are Chip? You saying why are the candles actually are not in a circle? That was one of those questions that I looked up on the thing because I forget the circle means eternity or something like that. That's what I read that somewhere. I don't know if that's right or not. When I was that's one of the questions I was trying to look up for the Advent thing here. So anyway, guys, y'all have a good night. And I saw Tony go by on the screen there. It's good to see you, Tony, if you're there watching. And I will see you guys. I'm trying to think of when if I don't see you sooner, I will see you on Sunday for the second Sunday of Advent. So y'all take care. See you guys. Bye.